Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to lesson 1.5, Rename Numbers. Please pause to write the lesson number and title in your notebook. Today's objective is I can rename whole numbers by regrouping. Please pause again to write the lesson objective in your notebook. Today we're going to be using our base 10 blocks that we've seen before to rename and regroup numbers. So let's have a quick review of our base 10 blocks. Our smallest base 10 block is called a cube, and we know that it is worth 1. When you have 10 cubes, you move up and you call it a long, and it is worth 10. If I have 10 longs, I stick them together and I get a flat, and that is worth 100. If I have 10 100s, then I have 1,000, and it's called a large cube. Now, I can model different types of numbers using all of these different base 10 blocks. I could model it using a long and cubes. That would be 10 plus 2 equals 12, or I could write it out as 12 individual cubes. But they both equal 12. That's kind of what we're going to do in today's lesson. We're going to look at how we can rename a number but still have it have the same value. In our Unlock the Problem, it says that we're going to use large cubes, remember those are worth 1,000, and flats, which were worth 100, in order to make 1,200. And it wants us to draw a quick picture of our base 10 blocks. So in order to get that first 1,000, we need a large cube that is worth 1,000. Then after that, I also need 2 flats that are each worth 100. And that gives me 1,200. You can see that my model shows 1 large cube and 2 flats. Another name for 1,200 is 1,000 and 2 hundreds. Now we're going to try to model this again, but this time we're going to use only flats to model 1,200. So we're going to take this big cube and we're going to split it apart into 10 flats. So here's 1, 2, and these are all worth 100. 100, 200, 300s, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hundreds is called 1,000. It's equal to that large cube. But I don't want just 1,000, I want 1,200. So I need 2 extra hundreds, 2 more flats. So this model shows that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 flats. So another name for 1,200 is 12 hundreds, because I have 12 flats and each flat is worth 100. Let's answer some questions about what we just did together. Our first question is, how is the number of large cubes and flats in the first model related to the number of flats in the second model? Well, in the first model, we had 1 large cube, which was worth 1,000. And in order to make 1,000, I need 10 flats. So I needed 10 flats to make 1,000. Plus, I needed 2 more flats to make 200. So I had 12 flats. So in our first model, we showed 1,000 plus 200. In our second model, we showed 12 hundreds. All right, question 2 and 3 are on the next page, but let's answer them together. Question 2 says, how could we model 1,200, our same number, but this time we could only use longs? Well, we know that it took 12 flats. We know that here. To model 1,200. And in each flat, there are 10 longs. So if I multiply 12 by 10, I get 120. So that means I have 120 longs in order to make up the same number, 1,200. So now I've described it with large cubes, with flats, and with longs. Question 3 says, we renamed 1,200 as hundreds. How can you rename the 1,200s as tens? Well, this is kind of what we just did here. We just named them as tens because longs are tens. So in order to, instead of saying 12 hundreds, now I would call it 120 tens. Because we said 12 times 10 is 120. So I have 120 tens. We will answer question number 4 tomorrow in class, as well as continue on to the Making Connections section. You're almost finished. Go back to your teacher's website and complete the exit slip. See you tomorrow.